Hi, welcome to the Eagle's Nest. I'm your host, Jeff Porcaro, and I'm here today with Maple Mountain's own Krista Prusak. Krista, talk to us today and tell us a little bit about what you do at Maple Mountain.
Yeah, so like Jeff said, I'm Krista, and I am the athletic trainer at Maple Mountain High School, and I have been doing this for 6 years at Maple Mountain. Before that, I bounced around at a couple other athletic training jobs. One of them was a clinic outreach at Taylorsville High School, and so this is my 7th year of doing high school athletic training. Before that, I worked in an arthritis clinic and worked with the older population with arthritis. And then before that, I worked at BYU while I was going through my schooling to get my degree as an athletic trainer. So I got both a bachelor's and a master's degree from BYU, both in athletic training. So I just continued on and specialized even more into athletic training. So I spent 5 years doing that, 3 of it, which I was certified as an athletic trainer. So that's where I got a lot of my practice in. So
Wow.
I can't believe we're at 6 years already.
That's great. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of wrap and tape for sure.
It is. I get the question all the time from my kids. How many do you think you've taped? And I don't know, millions, hundreds of thousands at least.
Absolutely. Speaking of taping and some of that, what types of services do athletic trainers provide to high schools?
Yeah, so we're really lucky in Nebo School District particularly, but a lot of the state of Utah follows this, where I get to be an athletic trainer teacher combo. So I teach in the earlier part of the day, and then I'm the athletic trainer later in the day. So I get to teach, which is really fun, which is not really a part of the athletic training world, but for me, it's a big part of my job. So I really get to enjoy do that. But what we do as athletic trainers is we kind of have 5 main domains that we cover. So the first one is injury and illness prevention and wellness promotion. So trying to keep our athletes safe, protecting them with education, particularly some of the big ones that I have hit recently has been concussion prevention and awareness, and then heat related illness has been a really big one that we've been trying to push in our state recently. So that's a big part of our job.
Okay.
The second domain is examination, assessment, and diagnosis. So I look at an injury or illness and try to determine what it is, and then provide whatever care goes along with that. So that's domain number 3 is immediate and emergency care. So if it's something life-threatening, handling that, trying to minimize the damage or any sort of immediate treatment that needs to occur to save a life. And then follow up with that is number 4, therapeutic intervention. So after the life-saving part of it's gone, or if that doesn't exist in that type of an injury, what can I do to help get it better? So what treatment, rehab modalities can I do to kind of help take care of the athlete? And then number 5, the last domain, is healthcare administration and professional responsibility. So a lot of that comes down to my paperwork and documenting everything, and then continuing to further my education by getting continuing education units. I have to get 50 hours every 2 years. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
They keep you going. So
Yes.
So in talking a little bit about the concussion work, I know a lot of the kids and stuff have to kind of go through some concussion work, and then if they happen to get a concussion, then they'll do some sort of concussion protocol. Talk to us about that and how you kind of push that program for our school within the state.
Yeah. So we are following what's the NFHS, the National Federation of High School Sports, came up with a policy years ago, and the Utah High School Sports Association, so the UHSAA, follows the same protocol. And what it is they suggest for every sport that is contact or collision sport to have a baseline concussion testing at least once every other year. but preferably every year. And so what I do is we're really lucky, and I'm going to give a little shout out to Intermountain. They actually help provide a free service to us with what's called the Impact Concussion Test. And it's a computer-based test that tests their cognitive function. So it has shapes that they have to memorize or, recognize and letters and words. And it's a pretty awesome test. The kids love it. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I give that baseline at the beginning of every sports season. And because it is a free service that they've offered, and so many of our athletes do more than one sport, I just make every athlete take that test once per school year. So most of my athletes will take it in August, and then the few tricklers that didn't do an August sport will take it in winter, and then or in spring. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is once we get a kid who has a suspected concussion, we're really lucky in the fact that we get to, in the state of Utah, athletic trainers can diagnose and treat concussions. We don't have to send them to a physician for clearance or whatever. Obviously, I would if there was need to, but that makes it really nice, as I can treat it in-house. We don't have to have the parents pay, a copay or things like that to get seen by a doctor. So in the state of Utah, I'm considered a concussion specialist, and so we can treat it. We try to be fairly conservative with our treatment. We focus on rest and avoiding things that cause additional symptoms. So if looking at their cell phone, playing on the internet or whatever, or playing video games makes it worse, then I suggest they don't do that. And we try to stay away from any physical activity until I can safely help monitor them as we're going through that. Once they have no symptoms, then I take them through the return to play that you mentioned. And that is, it's a 5-step return to play to get them back to full go. So yeah, it's kind of a fun process.
I can imagine. And I know that the state has spent a lot of time. I mean, two of probably the biggest things that have been talked about are concussions and, like you said earlier, the heat and, that kind of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So talk to me a little bit about what you've been doing during this downtime with no athletic play and stuff. I know you've got your classes that you're teaching as well. So what's keeping you busy right now?
Yeah, the classes are keeping me a little bit busy, but mostly I've been working in the yard. I've been gardening like crazy. I love being outside. I'm a little bit of a sun worshiper that way. So every day that it's been nice, I've been outside in the yard, pulling weeds or doing whatever. So yeah, that's been kind of fun. But yeah, no, mostly I've just been missing sports.
I know I'm with you on that one for sure. It's been tough. So what have you done with the kids? There was probably a few kids that you were doing work with towards the end of the year, whether it was STEM or massage or stretching or other things. What have you done to kind of transition them to do those things on their own or with a healthcare professional?
That's a great question. And I'm really lucky because a lot of athletic trainers came out of basketball season with, bad surgical knee cases or things like that. We, knock on wood, we had a very, very healthy year. And so I didn't have any bad post-surgical cases where I was working with the kids, every day, one-on-one type of a thing. So that was like just, silver lining right there. But mostly it was just kids that just had the daily soreness, the occasional tweaks of things here and there. So yeah, mostly it was, how can I just help them maintain their health as they're away at home and I'm not there to provide a training room and the massage gun and stuff. So I created a Google Drive with a whole bunch of extra guides on how to foam roll or how to stretch, how to work on this common injury or this common injury, and just said, these are good resources to kind of give you a go, and then call me if you have any problems. And luckily we haven't had many. I've had a few sore shoulders from pitching and stuff, but yeah, mostly really quite good.
Okay. That's awesome. That's great. So and we talk about all these sports, and there's, kind of the different camps out there of, specialized sports versus multi-sports.
Yes.
And I want to kind of get your take from a trainer's perspective on the multi-sport athletes and kind of how that helps.
Yeah. So honestly, if a person could do more than one sport, they are almost always going to have a more balanced and more safe body, because they're used to doing multiple types of movement. So if we have, for example, if we have a football player who then goes to play basketball, those are different movements. Yes, they're similar in the fact that there is some sprinting, and yes, there is some cutting and things like that, but the way you're doing it on a court is a lot different than the way you're going to be doing it in football cleats on the field. And then let's say that player transitions and goes and does baseball. All of a sudden, they're going to be using their arms and their body to balance as they rotate and twist with either their throw or with their bat. And so all of a sudden, they're using, in those 3 seasons, they're using a wide variety of muscles that they wouldn't use if they specialized in one sport. And so I find that those athletes who are typically my 3-sport athletes are my healthier athletes, who tend to not have the severe overuse injuries and the burnout injuries that we see commonly associated with a single sport athlete. So I'm a big believer in doing more than one sport. So if I could just push that, do more than one sport. Even if you're not very good at it, go and do it for fun, because it will benefit your body. And it helps, I think, mentally too, helps you not burn out and get sick of that sport. I see a lot of, I'm going to throw soccer under the bus because that tends to be a big one here in Utah. But I see a lot of my soccer girls by their senior season that they're a little burned out. And I think, how can you go play college for another 4 years? I don't know if, that's not fun. And so if we can get them to mix it up, I think they'll mentally feel a lot better too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. So I've always been a proponent of kind of getting out there, especially in high school. I mean, I get it when you get to college that, that's your thing and that's what you're going to do. But in high school, it's about having some good opportunities and being healthy and having some good team experiences. And speaking of good things and fun and that kind of stuff, what would you say is your favorite memory from being a trainer?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, at Maple Mountain, I've had a lot of really great fun things in the last 6 years. We've had some state championships, which has been really fun. And we've had some, surprise wins. When baseball, it was either my first or my second year, I can't remember, but baseball got into the losers bracket early in the state tournament, and then they came all the way back and lost to Spanish Fork, of course, in the final. But that was such a fun. I remember my sports medicine class, I told Gary, I said, tell your baseball players to come in during this class period, and I'll have my whole class help work them over. So we massaged and we had a lot of fun. So like things like that, seeing our kids succeed and do really well amidst that adversity is really fun. When football went and made it to the semifinals, that was fun. I love seeing our kids succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked a little bit about your sports medicine class and that. Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about how you utilize your class as well as interns from the local colleges to help supplement your work.
Yeah. So what I hope is with the sports medicine class that they get to see a little eye opener to what the world of sports medicine is. So not just athletic training, but, a physical therapist or, sports psychologist, all those careers. So I hope that they can kind of get some ideas of what they could go into in this field of medicine. And then I offer an internship through the it's through the district, through the NEBO. I can't think of what it's called immediately off the top of my head, but it's an internship that the kids can come and do, and they actually get to come after school 1 day a week and come and work with me and learn all about athletic training and get to see the hands-on part of it. So that's something that high school students can do. Then if they're interested in going into the athletic training program for their career, I'm a preceptor for BYU, which it means I'm essentially a clinical instructor. So BYU sends their students who are in the program down to me, and I, get to utilize them and help them learn through kind of an internship type program also how to be an athletic trainer in the high school setting. So that's really fun. So the combination of both of those, I get a lot of kids. So I get to teach all day long, which is really fun, really fun for me.
Definitely. So kind of wrapping up here, what advice would you give to people just kind of at this time to stay healthy and keep limber and stretched and, not get any sports injuries during this little break off?
Right. Okay. First of all, I want to stress, stay active. It's really easy to want to binge Netflix and stay on your couch, but get out, be healthy. The weather's fantastic. We never have this good of weather in April. It's always rainy when we're playing baseball. So get out, enjoy the fresh, wonderful weather. First of all, do whatever, get your heart rate up and have fun. Then I would suggest on top of that, you have all the time in the world right now. So get a really good stretching program going, do a good dynamic stretch ahead of time. So stretching while you're moving. So like butt kickers, open the gates, those types of exercises. Do those before you really start your exercise. Get your heart rate up, get your muscles ready for activity, do your activity, and then do some static stretching after where you are going to sit and kind of hold the stretch for, 10 to 30 seconds. And then if you're finding you're getting some soreness or things like that, and you're concerned about it, then reach out to me. I'm here and I'd love to help because I miss it. So yeah. For example, today I was walking my dog and he had a little limp, and I was, overly analyzing it because I think I'm so.
I could see you pull out the tape right then and start taping it.
Right? It might get to that point.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you taking time today and being able to talk to us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.
We want to thank Krista Prusak for being with us today and talking to us a little more about the athletic training at Maple Mountain High School, and we thank her for her time. And I want to also let everyone know they need to come out and follow us, like us, subscribe to us on Maple Mountain Sports for YouTube, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and it's Maple NTN Sports for Twitter. And you'll be able to follow all of our Eagles Nest videos, as well as get sports information about events. And then as we get to playing sports again, some live streaming of some of the games. So again, I am your host, Jeff Porcaro, and this has been the Eagles Nest.